Hi, I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, where we analyse and break down all the goals scored in the Premier League. We're not one of those fan channels that actually don't know anything about football. With my over 25 years of coaching and sports analytics and all sorts of stuff, we actually teach you what's really going on the field. If you want to learn about football, this is the place for you. Obviously, we're the largest YouTube channel, football YouTube channel in the world. But I'll tell you right now, I'm looking at West Ham's game here. West Ham have got some serious problems because they seem to have the same thing going wrong with a lot of their players. And you'll see it right here in this little tiny bit that I'm going to show you. Okay. First off, Sunderland coming back up to the Premier League. Obviously, they're up for the game, and the problem with newly promoted teams isn't about having a poor start; it's about having a poor finish. It's how the grind hits them in a couple, sort of in that sort of November, December, January sort of time. And if you really want to have a laugh, go look at the fixture list and see how many fixtures get compounded. They're used to playing loads of games, but it's the grind in that sort of time of the year that really get them. We'll know what they're really about, and West Ham are about by the sort of international break. Everyone tries to do predictions and all this nonsense because they're idiots. They don't know anything about football. You don't start predicting how teams are going to play or what they're going to do. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that on my Monday night show at 8 o'clock. Come and join me for that. And things I can't really get into so much when I'm doing a breakdown of certain teams. Now, when this ball goes out wide here, the first thing you need to be doing is trying to get a body in front of that ball in any way you can. So you can stop the ball going down the line. You can stop the ball doing anything. But watch the West Ham players, watch their body movement here as we move this forward, okay? Watch their sort of attitude. Because a lot of running, you can dictate of what a player's trying to do just by their attitude and the body movement and when they're running, okay? Now watch. Do you see how slow these jogs are? Do you see how lackadaisical it is to go and pressure the ball here? And we're in like the 61st minute. We're not really, deep in the 80th minute. There is no intent to go and pressure the ball or stop the player do anything he wants. If he's got a bit of pace, he's gone into this space here, creating problems. He doesn't. He stands here and puts a cross into the box. Apparently, crossing is now a thing. No one knew about it. Someone from the Championship has come up and sort of trying to tell these Premier League teams, you can cross a football and you can score with headers. You don't have to do all this little passing intricacy for no reason whatsoever when you can just lump the ball in the box and head it into the goal. Who would have thought it? Nobody. But that's what ends up happening here. You can see he ends up taking another touch, and look how far up he's got, and no one is close to tackling. I mean, that's a perfect opportunity there to tackle the football. Right, so there's this thing as well. I tried to sort of teach this when I'm on the field, and it's really easy to explain when you're on the field. After you've touched the ball, right, you're the attacker, you've got the ball, and you've touched it. That's the perfect opportunity to tackle. They go, yeah, but you can touch it again. You can't, because you've already touched it. Your foot's got to go and hit the ground and go forward, and that's what's happening here. It's hard to try to sort of explain it to people, but it's really easy to show people. When you've touched the ball, it's a game of I get to go, you get to go. So I touch the ball, you get to walk forward. But if I'm already walking forward and I'm there in a position, I can now try to tackle. This guy gets to do what he wants, pick his head up and pick out a cross, and that's what he does. Fires it into the box. Now, you can say, okay, because you've got to think of when a cross is coming into the box, there's a couple of factors, right? Is the player getting marked and can he score the header, right? That's what everybody looks at. Everybody looks at the end product here. What you really want to look at is this problem here. This is the bigger problem because no one is close enough to pressure the ball. No one is here to actually stop the cross coming in the first place. All this header nonsense and all this other stuff here is a secondary issue. The first issue is stopping the cross coming in. If the crosses don't ever come in, you don't ever have to worry about this stuff back here. So you need to realize, okay, we're a team that can stop these crosses coming in because we can actually get to there, but my players being a bit too lazy. We don't really need to worry defensively so much about this because we can fix this problem here. However, if you can't fix this problem here because your players just really don't have the attitude to go out and actually do their job properly, then you have to focus on something else over here. You see, so it's this multi-level thing where I used to explain this to people all the time when I'm coaching. Oh, they're scoring because of this. No, they're not. That's the last part. They're scoring because of this other part over here. And if we fix this little piece here, all of that stuff goes away. We don't spend time trying to worrying about that if we fix these little problems over here, because this is easier to fix than it is this problem down here. So, yeah, if that makes sense, you're wasting time coaching. You're wasting time trying to teach defensive, defensive headering and doing all of these things here, when all you really need is your shape correct, the pressure on the ball correct, and all that stuff disappears. But is there a secondary problem here? 100% there is. Have a little look. You've got two Sunderland players, one West Ham player. They're completely shocked. Look at where everybody else is for West Ham. No idea. All comes in. It's not a good header. It's just not. It's one of those slow motion headers that's just sort of tapped him on the head and it's bouncing. And here's the other reason. I don't know why the keeper's over here. Right, so the keeper, he's just a little too far over to his left-hand side, and he just is nowhere near being able to save to this run. This ball's coming in from miles away. Right? He should easily be in the middle of his goal, probably half a step, maybe even a full step further out, and he's just in. Look, it's shocking all over. It's a slow motion header. Keeper should have had that. Defender should have been back in position quick enough. Everything from the West Ham point of view is just worrying. And I've already heard some of the West Ham fans that want Graham Potter out. Now, Potter's not a great coach. You've got to understand that. He was in a system where it allowed him to look good and allowed him to actually look a little bit better of a coach and manager than he actually was. You saw when he went to Chelsea, he fell flat. And there is this thing as well that people just don't know about because they haven't coached, they haven't managed football teams, where certain managers work at certain teams and they don't work at other teams. That's just the way it is. And they're not honest about it because of the style that they play, the way that the club is set up, the way that who the players are, all of those things are important. Some managers can come in and do a job anywhere, at any time, and it doesn't matter. Others can't. He's one, I think, that can't. And here we have another example of basically the primary fault of being understanding how to pressure the ball. They just don't know. West Ham just don't know what they're doing. Like, clearly, watch. Let's have a little look here. Right, you've got two players. You've got no backup line because everyone's back here. Okay, fine. So these two players need to be not hyper aggressive. They need to be relaxed a little bit, get close to the ball, but don't overpress. So what they end up doing is overpressing. Bosch, look, he just goes straight past them because there's absolutely nobody here in the secondary zone here to deal with anything. So he just runs past them simply, absolutely simply. And that's just, well, the West Ham players don't know what to do. One of these two players right now needs to be stepping forward into this area. Just stepping forward into the area. Not trying to win the ball. You're just stepping forward into the area to try to take this space away because there's two of you here doing absolutely nothing. These players back here, too far away, can't get involved in the play at all. And the main reason you wanted one of your midfielders to come and step into this zone here is because now you've got 1, 2, 3 players doing absolutely nothing. You've got a player on the ball being able to do what he wants, and a player out wide that you cannot get to because you are not close enough. So you've got 3 players, and this goes down to, honestly, attitude on the field. It's like they either don't know what system they're playing, which it could well be. They're just all over the shop, West Ham. So this should be easily defendable because you've got the bodies right there. But the fact that he's not reacted tells you everything you need to know. Look, boom, and when the ball comes out wide here, all of a sudden now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players completely cut out. These two, it's fine, you know, but they didn't do their job properly in the first place. If they did their job properly, you could allow it, but there's so many issues here. Now, you've just been undone by a cross. You know it's going to be coming in. You know you need to put pressure on the ball. Do they put pressure on the ball? Well, you already know the answer. He's got time to take a touch, turn it, and fire it across. Too far away. No West Ham player is close enough. I remember they did have a little bit of time. And you're talking, well, Cash, just because he received the ball, walked down the field and made a pass, and all 3 players didn't move, that's the time that they had. And that's the difference in real football players. It's never anything that you do when you have the football. It's all of the things you do when you don't have the football. And that's just not really taught much anymore. Like everyone just sort of glosses over that. Yeah. But here we go. We've got a cross coming in. Bosch, in it goes. Is he marked? No. Completely and utterly on the wrong side, letting the guy have a free run. And honestly, this is a decent header. Keeper probably should have done a little bit better again, but this is not a bad header. The fact that the cross has been allowed to come in again and they've had time to deal with it, yeah. I mean, West Ham might have some serious problems. Boom. Yeah, good header into the corner. Now remember, when you're doing like sports analytics and you're looking at data sets and you're trying to analyze stuff that's going away, you're away. Okay, chances are you're going to lose that game to Sunderland. Well, they've just come up from the championship. It's going to be a tough game. So you don't really know how you're performing. You probably need, well, if you're doing it by the book, you need at least 10 games at home to understand what your team is doing. You're not going to get the time as that as a manager, because you're going to get fired within 10 games of winning or losing at home, to see how West Ham are really going to perform. But right now, just on this little snapshot, it doesn't look good for them. Here comes Sunderland on the break. It's actually quite interesting to watch, because what I do like is this kid, he stops and slows the ball down. He doesn't try to sort of penetrate himself. He lets the runners do the job, which actually gives West Ham time to get back and make this simple to defend. But they don't. It's not close enough to the ball. Can't really make a challenge. Can't really do anything. So look, he slows the ball down. Look, gone. But now this is the interesting part, right? This is where you understand whether or not they understand what they're doing. So he can track him quite simply because he can see him. Shouldn't be a problem. No issues whatsoever, right? We've got that. When this ball is played, though, you've got 1, 2, 3 West Ham players stood there. Not one of them can make a challenge. Not one of them can stop the pass. Not one of them can do anything. So they don't know what they're doing. Someone needs to tell them only one person can win the football, because there's only one football. When you're on a transition like this, here's a clue, boys. You should have been running back here a little bit, because when this ball gets passed out wide into this massive space over here, you lot now have to turn, pick up the pace and start chasing after him, instead of just running back like you should be in the first place. Now, there's another problem with that. It's because this kid, he's already run back and played everybody on side. If he had held his line, that would have changed the total dynamic of this. He couldn't have run in behind. The time that he wasted by holding up the ball would have been a problem, because he couldn't have put a ball in behind without it being a complete and utter foot race, and it completely changed everything. But he didn't, because this guy, for some reason, decided to run back to his goalkeeper and give them this massive pocket of space. I mean, look at that. Like look at that. That's because you are terrible at football. And it is reading the situation and understanding, do I drop deep or do I hold? What do I do? Well, he just doesn't know. Don't worry, though. He's not the only culprit. There's another clown back there that's even deeper than him. But we know he's raised his hand, telling somebody what to do. So in the next 5 seconds, someone's going to score a goal, because he is paying no attention to what he should be doing. He's trying to tell other people what they're doing. Like, well, why are you worried about the guy being marked over here when there's the football? All you need to be focused on, here's a clue, if you want to be a good footballer, focus on the football. That's it. Focus on the football. I can remember, I think I was, 7, 8. I was playing in St. Mary's County at we were called the Pollywog Hermins. I was in Washington, D.C. And I'll never forget, one of these little coachy guys, terrible coaches, said to me, yeah, all you ever need to do in goal to keep yourself occupied is just keep watching the football. As it goes to the one side, you follow it over. As it goes to the other side, you follow it over. As it goes to the other side, you follow it over. And I was like, oh, okay. And I've always remembered that since, when you start picking up coaching and you do stuff, it's one of those simple things. Just follow the football, go over. He's running down the middle of the field. Yeah, you know what? You probably want to cover the middle of the field, but you're in a situation where you can't. You want to be over a lot more. You've had loads of time to do it. You saw as soon as that pass was made and he started jogging out wide, you should have been jogging out wide, not trying to worry about what's running through the middle, because that isn't a factor at the moment. That's a factor. And again, it's the intensity and the lack of it in the running. Watch him jog over. Watch his jog. He's got no intention of trying to get close to the ball. You can see he's jog. Separation. That is too far. Jog. It is just laziness. All of this is just laziness. Jog. Shimmy. Next thing he does, the guy's pulling the trigger and the ball's in the back of the net. Yeah. West Ham have got some issues. Sunderland, they're doing all right. They won their first game in the Premier League. I think they need, I can't remember how many it is. But they probably need about 38 more. Probably about 32 more points, and they might stay up. So we'll see what they do. But decent strike. Keeper maybe should have done better again. But ultimately, you can see from the West Ham attitude of the players and the lack of the way that they want to close the ball down. And remember, this is the first game of the season. If this is a little bit into the season and the campaign, you're going, all right, there may be tiredness, there may be some issues, but they just look all over the place. Other than that, see you next time on Cash Talks Football.